Hi everyone, my name is Sophie. I'm the second year fellow at Audubon Mid-Atlantic. And I have a lot of things that I love about Philly, but I moved here after college in May of 2022. I graduated college. I moved here in July to start my fellowship position. And my favorite part about Philly is how community oriented the city is. I feel like the people care so deeply about their city and their specific neighborhood. And also, the food scene in Philly has really been taking off. And I've had some very, very good food recently.
Hi everyone, I'm Kayla, a second year fellow here at the Clay Studio, and I was born and raised in Philly, so there's a lot to love. I feel like I have a deep appreciation for the city as a whole, but some of my favorite things are that it's a historical city, and I feel like there's always more to learn about Philadelphia, and I also love that it's an arts capital of the world. Philly was actually named the mural capital of the world last year, and I feel like there's always something beautiful to see, no matter what part of the city that you're in.
So I was an environmental science major in college with a minor in education, so I knew that I had a pretty clear path towards going into environmental education. And most of my courses that I took really were applicable towards teaching about the environment, but I did not have any specific experience with birds, and so coming into the position, I really got to learn a lot about birds and how people go birding and how to teach about birds. But I did write for my capstone in college. I did write a week-long curriculum, so I had experience with that.
For me, I went to Temple University, and my program was Human Development and Community Engagement. So I think in that program, it taught me a lot about community education, because I know I wanted to work in education, but I wasn't quite sure whether I wanted to be in a school environment. So that program taught me a lot about how to connect with communities, how to listen to communities, and I think that really informed creating the programs that I have here, and really having that at the front of my mind and my mission. So my work here at the Clay Studio, my special project is an after-school program. So we work with around 4 neighboring schools in the area to provide programming after school to students. So we'll do snack and homework, and then we do a ceramics project every day. So for me, it's important just to have a space where students can just exist, they can communicate with their friends, and they can create art and not have to worry about being graded on it or, following a strict set of guidelines around the way that they can behave. So I think that fulfills for me a level of education that maybe is not accessible in a classroom environment. And for me personally, it deepens my connection to the community because I get to interact with the same students every week. So we can check in about things that they're going through, just be a listening ear to them.
I would say make sure that you think about all of your life experiences that you've had and what could really be applicable. It's not necessarily a specific job that you've had. It could also be a course that you did in college or a life experience that you've had that's related to the job that you want to have. I would also say make sure that you share what you think that you'll get out of this experience, because your host organization wants someone who can grow and change with the fellowship, as well as looking at what they're going to be bringing to the table. So I would say that almost all of the work that I get to do in creating my own lesson plans and then delivering them, I've got to put a lot of my own creativity into my work because I got to create everything myself. But I do make sure that I take at least some time every day, if I have a couple minutes of downtime, to learn more about environmental topics that I'm interested in. And last summer, I actually got the opportunity to get some books through Audubon to read about different environmental topics. So if I have a little bit of extra time, I'll dive into one of those.
So similar to Sophie, I feel like I have a lot of creativity in planning my curriculum for students. On slow days in the program or more independent days, I get to make my own work while working with students, which feels really special. And as a fellow here, I also have studio space and studio storage. So after work, sometimes I'll stay and wheel throw or hand build a project. So my favorite thing about my host organization is just that every day is really fun. I feel like I get to satisfy both parts of my personality with my direct service and my special project. So with my direct service, I get to go out into schools and libraries in the city. So it's really fun to just be in a different location all the time, working with different communities, different populations. And then with my special project, I get to connect with the same students every week. So I feel like I get to both be out in new communities constantly and also building community in the area that our location is at. And I also just really love the team here. Everyone is super collaborative, everyone is very nice, and there's just like a creative energy that sort of is palpable in the space when we hold events and just like on a regular day as well.
I work for Audubon Mid-Atlantic, which is part of the National Audubon Society, so I get to be part of an organization that operates nationally, but I also get to work at a local nature center. I work at the Discovery Center, which is located in Fairmount Park in Strawberry Mansion, and so I get to really operate at a local community level while also being part of an organization that does national work, so I get to see my work being part of the entire country as well as just in my local community.
Some advice that I would give my pre-fellowship self is to get more involved with different departments on my organization. I think it's important during your fellowship phase to really find out the work that calls to you the most from the organization that you're working at. So chat with people from different departments, try out new projects, and I think it's also really important to make your voice heard in your organization. So any new ideas that you're thinking about, I think it's really important to share those, and I wish I had done that sooner in my fellowship as well. Because ultimately your host organization is bringing you on because you have new ideas and you have experience in your specific field. So it's really important that you are putting those ideas out into the universe and that you are sort of trusting in your confidence as someone who is qualified to work in social impact.
The interview process will look a little bit different with each host organization, but they all follow the same timeline. So the application deadline is February 5th at 9 p.m. In March, hosts will screen and interview prospective candidates, and then in April, they will select their finalists and send their decisions, and then the fellowships begin this summer. Now, for the interview process, each prospective candidate will go through multiple interviews. For me, I went through multiple different interviews, one with my direct supervisor, one with the rest of my team, and one with the director of Southeast Pennsylvania Audubon Centers. So I got to meet various people along the process, but it will be a little bit different for each organization. I would say at each interview, make sure that you're coming in with your own questions and that you have something special and different to offer than the last time that you interviewed.
So before I worked here, I had experience working in education with the library system, so that was focused on literacy. But the arts focus here was really attractive to me, so that was one of the main reasons why I chose to apply here, is that I wanted to be an educator, work more in a community space, and ceramics also seemed really fun. So I think a combination of seeing the environment here through events, having an interest in art just personally, and then also just the creativity in the role to build out new programming that didn't exist before.
And when I saw this post with Audubon, I already knew Audubon as a big environmental name and knew that I wanted to work with elementary age students in environmental education. So it really seemed like the perfect job for me to apply to. And I also was a little bit nervous about leaving college and not having that kind of support system. And it seemed like the fellowship would be able to provide a little bit of a safety net in terms of transitioning out of college and into the career.